Hey, good evening, Munchie Mafia. Tonight we're doing a little bit of live and a little bit of pre-recorded because this dish actually takes several hours. So let's get to it. Stupid me forgot to soak the beans overnight. So we're going to do the quick method. First off, what you're going to do is you're going to get a 1 pound bag of small white beans or any other kind of bean that you have, as long as it's not the black beans, because black beans is going to taste a little weird in this dish. You want to go through them, make sure there's no rocks, and rinse them out. Put them into a large pot, and then fill it full of water. And you're going to fill it up. It's going to be a lot like making rice. So you're going to take it to the knuckle, or the first line on your pinky finger. Just set your finger on top, and that's where we're going to go with that. Now, next we're going to take some smoked pork shanks. We're just going to stick them also in the pot as well. And of course, bay leaves. I'm out of bay leaves, so this is just going to have to do. I like to go like 4 or 5 bay leaves. That's probably about 3 bay leaves right there, or the equivalent to that. But I have to go to the store anyway to go get some other ingredients because I had forgotten about those. So now we're going to take this and we're going to put it on the stove. I did clean up my mess from the other day, so we should not have a kitchen fire. Thank God. That was a big mess in the stove. All right, so that's cranked up to high. Now the other ingredients that we're going to want to go with this is a very basic French pork and beans dish, and it's called Cassoulet. We're going to be using the Southern Classics pork sausage from Cooper River Farms that we got from Derek of the Food Boat, smoked garlic. I need a lot more onion than this, but this is like leftover onion from the other night. And then 3 stalks of celery and 2 carrots. And this is just a very basic, very rustic sort of dish. It's kind of like a pork and bean stew of sorts. So we will get that to a rolling boil, and we will be right back. Okay, so our water is now at a boil, and it's just kind of going a little bit gently. So we want to get that up just a little bit more, and it's going to catch up really fast. You're going to want to add salt to this, as well as a few cloves and some rosemary, and then just let it do its thing. Now that we've got a lot of movement in that water, I know it's really steamy here. I wish that we could figure out another solution to this. We're going to actually put the lid on now And then we're going to reduce the temperature down to a low and just let it do its thing for about an hour. The other ingredients that you're going to want to add to it is going to be nutmeg and cardamom, but we're not going to add those just yet because we don't want it to be too overpowering. So let's let this do its thing for about an hour, and we'll see you in a little bit. And we're back. So I had to go to the grocery store earlier, so I left Timmy in charge of taking care of my beans. And I came home to a pleasant surprise that they are nice and fully cooked. And this is a dish that actually takes quite a long time, so that's why this is partly live and partly not. So as you can see, the pork shanks that we threw in there with the beans is now clean off the bone. But inside that bone is this beautiful marrow. We don't want to get rid of that. Okay, so try to get it out as best as you can. I use plating tweezers, which I guess Timmy finds really amusing that I have plating tweezers. Dang. So we do want to remove that because that's delicious. It's also very good for you. It's also good for the dogs too, but don't ever give pork bones to dogs because they could choke on them. So we don't want the little tiny pieces of the shank at all. We don't want to reserve that for anything. But there's some magic that happens with this dish when you return it to an oven with the bones, the big bones, returned back to the top of it,
eating the shit
so
out
that
of
they
it
can
earlier.
roast.
Okay,
it just adds a little bit of flavor. So don't discard your bones just yet, which I did, but we do want to get that marrow out of there. And as you can see, the meat has come apart nicely into these big chunks. We want to take some of that gristle out. We don't want to reserve any of that. Okay. We're going to pull all of our meat out because I want to reuse this bowl. Some of the beans ended up when I strained it out, they came back up to the top, and I ended up with a bunch of beans in my little bowl of meat. So there we go. We'll probably put the beans back over in the bean pot. We don't want that gelatinous goo that's there. Okay, that's part of the fat that's just not really all that tasty. All right, let's dump this back in there. I'll show you the beans in just a moment. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this meat and we're going to kind of just tidy it up a little bit because you're going to find some icky stuff on there. So just, kind of swipe it off of there. Swipe left, swipe right, whichever. Okay, we're just gonna shred it up with our fingers. We're not gonna use a knife. We're gonna show it a little bit of love. Give it a little bit of a massage. Get it all broken up into nice little shreds. And tell it it's pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, so pretty. Okay. There we go. And some of it might be a little on the tough side. They're still okay because it's gonna braise a little bit longer. But we just don't want to end up with refried braised beans. It's just gross. So we've pulled them, we've drained them, we've let them cool. Because there's some other things that we have to do to this dish to tie the room together. You hear me say that a lot. And it's the mirepoix that I have in the case. I'll show you that in a few moments too. But we want to get this all broken apart. So today was a very, very beautiful but very, very cold day in Western Washington. I was driving to the store and thought to myself, that's kind of weird. So I called Timmy and I'm like, hey, Timmy, is it a holiday today? And he's like, no, I don't think so. He looks on the calendar. No, it's not a holiday. Oh, there's nobody at the school. School's out. I mean, he just got back from winter break. I mean, I know that they have a midwinter break, but that seems a little ridiculous. No snow here, but damned cold. It's damned cold. It's damned cold. Okay, let's get that marrow in there before we end up accidentally discarding it, thinking it's fat. Just add it to it, it just gives it that nice lush mouthfeel. Once when it's all melted down and it's incorporated into the dish. We're gonna skim the top of this this broth a little bit because it is a little scuzzy, and that happens. Doesn't matter how you make your broths, it just happens that way. Plus, there's some remains of the bean, the aquafaba, the bean water. Leaves a little bit of a film on the top of the water as it cools. We're going to skim that off too, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. And let's get the rest of this meat all taken care of. As you can see, that's a lot of meat. That's really a lot of meat off of 3 ham shanks or pork shanks, smoked pork shanks. Now, if your grocery store doesn't carry smoked pork shanks, you can definitely go check out your local butcher. But keep in mind that most butchers are closed on Sundays.
There you go.
At least around here they are. Some of them are closed on Sundays and Mondays even, which is unfortunate.
And if you would quit telling people
these
that,
ones came from just the grocery store, because we don't have a problem finding these sort of things.
Except for them not saying hello to anybody.
What I did notice today while perusing the produce aisle is that they're starting to carry some specialty ingredients, and that's really exciting. Found galangal and tamarind, fresh even. It's like, oh my gosh, just might have to make some pad thai or something. Anyway, okay, so there's that. See, it's all nice and shredded. All right. You take these gloves off, get that out of the way, move this over here. And let's talk about some of the other ingredients that we have. In my box, we've got a medium diced carrot, medium diced celery, a small dice of onion, that's also onion, and then smoked garlic, and I turned it more into a paste by peeling it and then gently massaging it with my knife blade. And then we also have thyme. We will also need the flat leaf parsley and a can of diced tomatoes. You can use any kind of diced tomato that you want. This one's Italian style diced tomatoes, steam peeled. The fire roasted ones are good too, but I don't want it to compete with the other flavors. It's only supposed to be a complementary flavor. Okay, so over here, we can go back to the upstairs camera. I'll show you that the bean water has created this scum. See the scum here? See how it just kind of moves around? Now, if you just take your spoon and gently just crinkle it up, just like so, tilt the spoon back, that scum is actually from the beans itself. And And it just comes right off the spoon fairly easily. Oh God, my fingers are sticky now. You can just go along and just take a gander, see if you might have missed any pieces in there. It basically peels off like rice paper or very thin cellophane. So now it's cloudy, but it's doesn't have that scum on the top. I'm gonna taste it real quick. Always taste as you go along so that you know just how salty your ingredients are, so that you're not adding too much salt, because you can always add, you just can't subtract, right? Okay, so now we've got our beans, and let's go back up to the upstairs camera. Our beans are nice and rested. Now there are some cloves in there, so you're going to have to go digging around a little bit. Know how many that you put in there, so that you can count them. I know I put in 5. 5 is one of my magic numbers. I've got magic numbers, and I always go by odd numbers. Odds. I don't know why. You know, I'm clinically diagnosed with OCD. You would think that I would want evens, but for some reason I gravitate to odd numbers. Don't know why. And just kind of just go poking around in there without mashing your beans up, and look for the others. Maybe I only put 3 because, oh no, there's 1. All right, that's number 4. So there's got to be another one in here. As you get into biting into one of those, and oh God, they suck. They just suck. Okay, so there's number 5. Number 5. You can actually crack a tooth on one of these things. So always take the cloves out, and they're very off-putting. They taste good when they're nice and blended nicely in with your food, but not a whole mouthful of it. Okay, so there we have it. Just make sure that I didn't miscount, and I did not. So that was 5. All right, so now that I've walked you through all this stuff, we will see you over in the live. So see you soon. All right. So now we are live. All right. So we recorded all that in pieces as we went along, because this dish actually takes a very long time. But first off, I want to say good evening, guten, whatever. And I'm just going to start speaking German. Sorry. I got to stop myself. Let's see here. So far, we've got Larry and killing it and grilling it. And she cooks and roasts. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Oracles, who's in here? Struggla. Did I say Larry? Larry. I'll say Larry again in case I missed it. Sorry. I'm having a bad brain day today. Teresa. Hello, Teresa. As you can see, we got sausages. The onesies are here. Hello, hello, hello. And don't forget that we also have our mods, Onesie Women, Tiger, and Tim Mitchell. And yes, we do leave the leaves in the beans, but we take out those damn cloves because nobody wants to break a tooth. Okay, so in the process of letting everything sit, we ended up getting more scum developing as the broth started to cool even more. So we're just going to go in and we're just going to remove more of that scum. It is beautiful though. Now this is one of my favorite dishes. I haven't made it in a while. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this pot that's hot. I've got my box of mirepoix right here. Mirepoix. Woo, say mirepoix with me. Mirepoix. Because I am classically trained in French cuisine. My culinary degree is with Le Cordon Bleu. And that means the blue cord. In Canada, it's the red cord, red ribbon. Anyway, so I went to Le Cordon Bleu, College of Culinary Arts in Seattle and also in Scottsdale, Arizona for my 2-year degree. We're going to use my cast iron pot here, and we just gave it some oil. We're going to choose the vegetable that is the most annoying, and that's going to be the celery, because it takes a while for this to cook. These are the hard vegetables of the mirepoix. Mirepoix consists of celery, carrots, and onions versus the Trinity, which is usually used in Cajun cuisine. That's going to be the onions, the celery, and bell peppers. So we're going to let this get happy in the pan. We're going to get these to soften a little bit. And then we're going to gradually start adding the softer things, which is going to be the onions and the garlic. So thanks to Oracles, he has helped me to achieve 300 subscribers. I just wanted to say thank you, but also thanks very much to those other channels that have also helped me grow. And She Cooks and She Roasts is another one of those channels. I strongly recommend going and checking her out because, oh my God, she just puts a smile on my face all day, every day. Every time she goes live, it's like, I might not get around to watching the videos and the shorts. Sometimes I just get tied up with other things, but I try to show up for the lives at least for a little bit. But oh my God, she just puts a smile on my face. I just want to say thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart. It's been a rough week this week. I'm feeling a little bit emotional. Losing my job on Wednesday and thinking, what do I do now? Because I made this vow that I would not return to restaurants again. And COVID-19 really screwed everything up for restaurants. But I have a feeling that I'm going to end up going back to those restaurants very soon. Because right now the job market is very dry as far as culinary work is concerned. I do have something lined up. There's a country club that's looking for an executive chef. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just go back to doing that again. And that's all the way on the other side of the water. That's going to be a long drive. So, the sausage that we're going to be using in this dish is Cooper River Farms, and it is the Southern Classic. If you have not yet visited the Food Boat, it's another channel. Derek was just recently at a boat show where he had several chefs lined up, and I was thinking to myself, my God, I have time on my hands. I should have just gotten on a plane, flown to the Carolinas, and gone and said, surprise, hey, Derek, let me cook for your live. And I was like kind of in my feelings a little bit. It's been rough. Anyway, so he's got the sausage packs on his his website that's up for sale. Yeah, and they're made in South Carolina. There's several flavors in the pack. They come in this really nice insulated box, packed in dry ice, so you don't have to worry about these things going bad. But then again, we're in the middle of freaking winter, so the likelihood that they're going to go bad is pretty unlikely. And that link is actually to the food boat. The food boat, his real job, aside from doing the food boat channel, is working as a salesperson for the meat packer, Cooper River Farm. And I'm not an affiliate with them or anything. This is not an advertisement or anything. I'm just doing this just for Derek, because Derek is awesome and we love him. All right, so I'm going to crank this up just a little bit because it just occurred to me that I turned it down earlier. Cast iron is great, especially for cassoulets, because you get that nice even cook with it. If you have one of the enameled cast irons, that also works. That's what I actually have on the back of my stove, is several different pieces of enameled cast iron. Now, these are not Le Creusets, because those damn things are expensive, and anybody who thought that chefs actually make a lot of money is delusional. Those were actually things that I inherited from a dead relative, so that hoarded a lot of QVC items. So anyway, yes, always take the marrow out whenever humanly possible and add that to your dish, because it gives a whole other mouthfeel to your dish and it elevates it. Now, unfortunately, I had accidentally thrown away all my bones, and I'm not going to dig them out of the trash, because there's a whole bunch of things in the trash that would make this not food safe. So we're just going to leave them in the trash. We're just going to pretend that we're going to return them back to the pan. Normally what you do is you take the large shank bones, not the little tiny ones, the little skinny ones that are pencil thin from the shank, and you just return them back to the pot, and then pop it in the oven and let them do their little magic. They're magical little beings. Okay. So there's still a little bit of time left on getting this all nice and colored. I've got a puppy down here looking for foods. She found a carrot that had slipped out of the pan. So, and that's Cindy Lou Who. She's just a little over a year old now, and she just got a brand new sweater that I ordered last week. So, she's dressed in purple. And kind of shows up blue in the camera, but for some reason, woo, I know, right? You're going to be okay. Here, let me give you a little nibble, okay? How about a little nibble? There you go. Go away, Dory. Come here, and I'll give you a nibble too if you stop barking. Tibetan Spaniels. They are very loud and obnoxious little dogs. They are guard dogs that are meant to alarm. They were put up in the turrets of the Tibetan monasteries to alert for dangers that were coming toward the monasteries, while the large dogs that looked just like them, except for they were like 150 pounds, they're known as little lion dogs, these ones, and then the other ones are lion dogs. They would alert the big Tibetan mastiffs to go out and kill whatever it is that was coming along that was threatening the monasteries of the monks. And then there were the Tibetan Terriers, which are kind of in between the sizes. Actually, they're just a little bit bigger than these ones. And they were more for companions of the Tibetan monks. What?
Pest control.
And pest control. Then there were also other dogs that the monks had kept in the monasteries that are actually from these guys. These are actually the ancient breed, and Pekingese and Pekingese actually came from these. The Shih Tzus and the Lhasa Apsos actually have some of the bloodline of the Tibetan Spaniel. Just so you know, and they're little hairy little mongrels. And Cindy, we love her to death, but she's very, very, very vocal and very, very, very aggressive. We're trying to cure her of that. Yes, I know, right? Woo, woo, woo. I know. She has still not learned how to bark properly. That's not a normal Tibetan Spaniel bark. All right, so we're halfway through getting our celery and carrots all nice and happy for the party. So now we're going to introduce to them the onions. We always want to build our flavors in layers so that when they all get combined together, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, there's a nuance of this, and it's like a dance, it's like a tango. As one of my former executive chefs, his name was Neil. He's now in New York. He moved from Seattle to New York. We keep in touch every once in a while, but it's usually non-cooking related. I adored the hell out of that man. I would work for him again if I had the opportunity to, but no longer in Seattle. But Chef Neil always romanticized all of the ingredients. And he would say things like, it's like a tango. Let them dance in the pan. Stirry stir. And well, I don't think he really said stirry stir. I think stirry stir was more my thing than his thing. But let them dance and let them sing and let them party together and get to know one another. You come away with this understanding that they're supposed to work together, not be so divisive. Kind of like people, work together and be cohesive. Love one another. Dance. Laugh together. Share. That sort of thing. And so your ingredients should be able to tell a story when all is said and done. The life story of a dish. And I think that's what America is missing these days. What is your story? Tell me in your comments. What's your story? What's your life story? All right, so what we're looking to do, we're looking to get a little bit of heat on these because the sugars from the carrots and the onions will start to create what's known as the fond at the bottom of the pan. And pretty soon, that's all the scrapey bits that's at the bottom that you're like, oh no, I burnt the pot. Well, no, you really haven't. Those are the little brown bits of the sugars that are naturally occurring in just about everything. And that's the beauty of deglazing, is that it releases that back into the food. Okay? Y'all still with me? Or am I boring y'all to death? We're just going to let this move around. They're dancing on the dance floor. Twirly, twirly. All it needs is a little bit of Barry White or something. I don't know. Now they're getting a little jiggy. Pretty soon it's going to be a full-on freaking party, man. All right. Forgot about some of that. Okay. So the last two of my dishes is going to be the garlic and the thyme. And the thing, oh shoot, what the hell did I just do? Just dumped all my herbs all over the place. Thyme, you can use an abundance of it if it's fresh, but if you're using dried, you want to go a little easy on it because the flavor is a lot more concentrated. Okay, but anyway, back to the garlic. This is the smoked garlic, and I had peeled it and then crushed it. We're going to add that toward the end here of this part because we don't want it to burn, because scorched garlic is an unhappy garlic, and it's no fun at the party, right? It's no fun at the party. But this, because I can tell that they're starting to bind together a little bit, and they're starting to, get all nice and happy with one another. It's like, the introduction has already happened. Now they're like slow dancing and they're starting to grind into one another. We want to start to add the garlic. And yes, we're adding all that garlic. That's pretty much a whole bulb of smoked garlic. If you don't have smoked garlic, just roast off your garlic. Just get a whole bunch of garlic and you just, throw them into the oven, whole cloves, wrap them up, or whole bulbs, wrap them up, sprinkle a little bit of oil on them, wrap them up in foil, and let them sit in the oven low and slow for about an hour or so until you can grab the bulb of garlic and you can squeeze it. And it's like, it gives quite a bit. It's like, oh, this is nice. And after it's all done, then just cool it all down to room temperature, and then just pop them into a couple of Ziploc bags. Put them in the freezer and pull them out as you need it. All right. So now that garlic is fully incorporated, we want to get a little bit of that building at the bottom of the pan. As you can see, I don't know if you can see that very well, but right here, you see that it's starting to build that fond at the bottom of the pan. We want to let it just keep doing its thing because that's where the magic happens. It's where the magic happens. It's like this is about time that Harry Potter finds out he's a wizard, And just spread it out and just let it get happy for a little bit. Now, let's talk about wines. We're using pork. This is a pork-centric dish. And we could go with a white wine, like a Pinot Noir, or Pinot Gris, or a sherry. Let's see here. That's a Riesling. That's a sweet wine. Or port wine is more of a darker wine, but there's also Marsala, which is kind of in between. I have a tendency to prefer sherry, so we're going to actually go with a sherry wine. And this is just cheap ass BS that you get at the grocery store. It's usually about $7, maybe $8 tops. And you could probably see by now, we're starting to get a lot of color on this. We're getting some caramelization. And that's what we're looking for. Okay. And about this time, we want to bring over our bowl of goodies. But unfortunately, I've got a lot of crap on. Let's pull that out. That's the last ingredient because we don't want to throw the thyme in there too soon, or else we end up with burnt leaves. And thyme burnt is no bueno, man. No freaking bueno. All right, so here we are. We got some color happening. It's just got some color. It's getting nice golden brown delicious, or GBD as we call it, culinary industry, golden brown delicious. Because everything brown is delicious, right? You get a nice sear. You got some nice fond building up even more so. You definitely stop for a moment and take a sniff. How does this smell? Oh, it smells freaking divine. Oh God, this is going to be so delicious. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Now we're going to add some wine to that. Because we want it drunk as F, you know. We really want it to say, oh, this punch was spiked. We're going to be dancing. We're going to be twerking on that dance floor. We're going to be like celebrating. This is a real celebration right here, you know. Now, it is winter time, so you know some of the warmer spices like cardamom, just give it a little shaky shake, just a little smidge, like a pinch, okay? Then we got a little bit of nutmeg. You want to go a little bit heavier than just a pinch, maybe a pinch and a half of the nutmeg to bring out the aromatics, okay? And now, Jim Baldridge. Okay, so KNG, killing it and growing it. He has a farm and he rents out pasture lands and to Jim Baldridge, and they create this freaking amazing seasoning. Okay, so this is not a sponsored thing, although you know I wouldn't mind a sponsorship because I use this all day, every day, man. This stuff is freaking amazing. Made in Omaha, Nebraska. It's an amazing all-purpose seasoning, and it's got marjoram and a bunch of other spices, so you know you're getting a quality ingredient. I mean, you're getting it from the heartland, right? Heartland key thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over here. Now that we've got this all nice and happy, we're going to introduce some new people to the dance, and that's going to be the beans. So now we're going to get rid of that because we actually want the spoon, and we're going to turn and toss so that they're all commingling with one another. Okay, commingling is very important. And now at this point in the game, we can actually reach over and grab all of that pork shank, smoked pork shank. It's a lot of pork shank for three shanks. That's quite a lot. We want to get those incorporated too because we want to get that heat. We want to get them to sweat a little bit and say, oh, hello beans, you could be fun. And hello vegetables, I used to eat you when I was walking the pasture. You used to be my dinner. And now hey, welcome back, Tiger. All right. So now we got our beans going. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle our fresh thyme. Now these are just plucked or plooshed as it's called in French culinary. But we don't want these to get all overcooked, okay? You want your beans just so. We're going to start introducing it to some liquids because, you know, when you're off to a dance, you're working up a sweat. And you might be feeling a little bit dehydrated, right? You're going to need a little bit to drink just to replenish your fluids. So I'm going to put a little bit in, work it together. See where we're at. Might need a few more sips because, you know, we had a little bit of that alcohol earlier. It's like, you know, that's dehydrating. We want to be able to dance the night away, right? And one of the things about being dehydrated is you're not moving around so well, okay? So there we have it. Now we're going to turny. We're not stirring, we're just turning, okay? We're turning. And what we're looking for is, it's a little on the wet side. There might be a little bit of liquid in there. All right. Good liquid in there, good amount. And there's some more of the thyme that I dropped all over the damn place. All right. Now what, Civvy? And where does the Cooper River Farm sausage come into play? Well, I'll tell you. Now we take the sausage in its raw form, and we're just going to put it on the very top. And we're going to put it in the oven. We're going to let it do its thing until these sausages have reached their internal temperature as specified on the back of the package. Which the back of the package says 160 degrees. So, just so you know, Cooper River Farm Southern Style Classic Pork Sausage. Exceptional meals are made with exceptional ingredients. Cooper River Farm gourmet products are inspired by chef creativity and made with only high quality ingredients. We are excited to bring these savory products to your favorite grocer. Our commitment is to help families and friends create chef-inspired meals that help make lifelong memories. We sincerely hope our products will become your new favorites. To learn more about our story and some of our recipe ideas, please visit cooperriverfarm.com. Okay, so ingredients: pork, salt, dextrose, spices, vinegar powder, rosemary extract, cherry extract, green tea extract, and pork casing. So that's what's in the Cooper River Farm sausage. Now, what makes this sausage different from any other sausage, you might ask? These sausages are pretty damn good. The texture and the bite that it has when you bite into it, the pull from the casing, they're using all quality ingredients. And this is an unbiased opinion. As I said, I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I'm just doing this as a favor for Derek because he's a good man and he works hard and has a wonderful channel and stands by his products, and so do I. His products are pretty freaking amazing. All right. So we're going to let that go for a little bit. Now, some of the other ingredients that we have here is, if you like to have cheese, a little sprinkle of cheese, you can put some sprinkle of cheese on the top. Now, one of the things that actually goes to a cassoulet as a finish is going to be butter and some parsley to top, but also some sort of a vinegar. Now, the vinegar that I've chosen for this is a sweet rosé vinegar instead of the typical malt vinegar that usually goes on it, or just whatever vinegar you got. Apple cider vinegar will work. I would not use white vinegar. But anyway, so the other thing that you do is you're going to toast a little bit of the panko breadcrumbs to sprinkle over the top. So get a little knob of butter. Maybe another couple knobs of butter. We're going to get those melted. We're going to toast a little bit of this off with some seasoning. And then toward the end, we're also going to add this tomato. We don't want it to completely break down and make it totally diluted. We just want that tomato in there to give it a little bit of a sweetness and not so much the water aspect, because, we're going to check it a few times and we're going to give it a splashy splash of a little bit more of that beautiful pork jus that we made earlier, as needed. So, anyway, so here we are. That, this, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to serve it with a nice bread as well. If you don't like the panko idea, you can just serve it with some nice bread. You can either toast your bread if you want, or just serve it as it is. And the bread that I chose, I was going to bake bread. Where did I put the damn bread? Timmy? Oh, never mind. I put it up in the bread box. I don't use the microwave. So we've got sourdough bread. I was going to bake a bread and I thought, well, you know what? I really don't have a lot of time. I don't really feel like baking bread today. I might have to bake bread another day. But if you like to see some bread, put it in the comments. Say, hey, bread, hey, make me some bread. And I'd be more than happy to show you how to make some focaccia. All right, so our butter is melted and it's sizzling in a nonstick pan. We're going to sprinkle some of the breadcrumbs in there. And because I really thoroughly enjoy the Baldridge Seasoning, I'm going to give it a sprinkle of that. And for about a cup of and crack some pepper in there. For 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs, you're going to want about a tablespoon of butter, okay? There we have that. And then move it around and get it all nice and toasted. We want some golden brown deliciousness here, okay? Definitely some golden brown deliciousness. If you want, you can add a little bit of paprika as well. It's one thing that's lacking in the Baldridge. Not that that's a bad thing. Because every all-purpose seasoning has... What the hell is that noise? Anyway. Oh, okay. That's Dory. Sounds like she's digging a china. Okay. Every all-purpose seasoning has its key ingredients, right? I mean, if every all-purpose seasoning had the same ingredients, then we'd all be eating Johnny's seasoning salt. So you want to keep that moving. You don't want to take your eyes off of it too much, or else what happens is that you end up with burnt breadcrumbs. And the only other thing that smells worse than burnt breadcrumbs is burnt garlic. So tossy. How y'all doing? Anybody have any questions about what I'm making? This is pronounced cassoulet. All right. Maybe just a little smidge of salt. Well, we don't want to add too much because we don't want a salt bomb. I don't think any of us really wants to have swollen ankles by the time we're finished consuming our meal, right? Wipe off all the stuff so we don't set fire to the stove. You okay, Timmy? All right. So there we have it. We have some beautiful toasted breadcrumbs. Tossy, tossy, tossy. Just set them aside for the moment. So the things that we have upcoming, we're probably going to do another Cards Against Humanity soon because everybody seemed to really enjoy that a lot.
And we got to get rid of these pearls.
And we got to get rid of these dang pearls. We got too many damn pearls. So the question is, would you prefer it on a weekday or keep it at Saturday, even though we had it on Friday last time? Because I had nothing else better to do, and I was kind of needing some joy in my life. So that's the question, is whether or not we should move it to a different day, like a Thursday, or put it back on Saturday where it belongs, where we've had it for a while. Paella is soon. Yes, paella is soon. I just don't know when. I know that we've talked about that, and I do have a small paella pan. Let's see if I can find it.
You really don't need to dig it out now.
I don't need to dig it out right now?
No.
Okay. Oh, well, it's right there. I actually have an authentic paella pan, and it's not huge. It's enough for
Leroy. He's up by the wheel, or was.
What?
Introduced Leroy. He was up by the wheel.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. While you were busy screwing around.
Oh, crap. Maybe I need to move the wheel. I guess Leroy wants to be the next sous chef. So anyway, this is my paella pan, and it is a Calphalon. I've had it for like at least 30 years. It's not huge, but it works. And no, it's not nonstick. So yes, we will definitely do. There's a kitty. I missed it because my head was buried in the pots and pans cabinet. Oh, here he comes again. Maybe I should take the wheel down. Do you want to come up here? I'm afraid to pick you up. I went to the chiropractor today, so come on. Was it actually Leroy or was it Rufus?
Leroy, right there.
Well, yeah, I know.
Everybody saw him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my head was buried in the pot and pan cabinet. Unfortunately, Winston had passed away back in October, so my sous chef has passed away, and we haven't figured out which one of the two cats is going to be taking his place. But Leroy is 30-something odd pounds, and he's all Maine Coon, but he looks like a short-haired Siamese-looking thing. But he's actually, his size is all Maine Coon. I mean, that thing, one time I picked him up and I thought I broke a rib. He was just crazy. So, yes, everything is better with butter. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Yep. Coochie. So, got a ways to go before that's all done. But yes, paella soon. Hello, Cooking with Stephen and Jacqueline. Welcome to our channel. We're just waiting on our cassoulet. We just popped in the oven about 7 minutes ago. So maybe 5 minutes ago. So we're just waiting on our sausage to cook. We're going to check it in a few minutes to see if we need to add a little bit more water to it or a little bit more broth. We have some smoked pork shank broth that we had cooked the beans in earlier. And we've been slowly adding to it. And this is one of my favorite dishes that I haven't made in a very long time. I don't think I've ever made it for Timmy, actually. Now I think about it.
Nope.
Nope. That's a nope. And sometimes there's just certain things that he just doesn't like, and sometimes it's just easier to just stick with, what I know he likes. So like I was saying earlier today, it was damned cold out. Let's see make sure our breadcrumbs aren't continuing to darken. They smell really delicious, though. Let's take a tasty taste. See how they're doing. Got a little bit of that smoked paprika thing happening. Then we also have our butter for our bread. And one of the things you can do is cut your bread into slices and give it a butter and throw them into a pan and make them into crostini to serve it with. It's up to you. I prefer to just put sprinkle the breadcrumbs over the top, and then be able to have the bread to dip it and keep it in its nice soft state. Tasty taste. Is in fact somebody break out the cardboard because we break dancing now? Yep. That thing is ready for the party pretty soon. I'm more than certain of it. And let's see here. I should probably get my thermometer ready. Check our pork stock to make sure that we don't have more scum developing, because beans create scum. And it seems to be doing okay. So this is our pork broth. We're going to slowly start incorporating more and more of that. 50s in Arkansas? Oh my goodness. I wish we had 50s. I think we've been hovering in the 30s, and it's supposed to get colder, and I guess there's snow in the forecast for later in the week. It'll be the first snowfall of the year, kind of, sort of. So we're going to just take a pokey at it and see how it's doing. I don't know why my cabinet door won't stay shut today. All right. It's still doing pretty good. It's got some liquid in there. Let's see. Let's turn it to 400. Jean-Pierre has got some really good stuff. I've watched a few of his videos. I think I've subscribed to him, but I can't remember offhand. But he does have some really good stuff, and that's my wheelhouse, kind of, sort of. It's like for the most part, I've based my career on French cuisine, but also fusion, a lot of Asian with broadly based Asian with French. That's kind of been my wheelhouse. So I was a little bit devastated when I got fired from my job. But we're not going to go there anymore, because I'm tired of crying over it. And that was fairly recently. That was over on Wednesday. 50s in Nebraska. You guys are lucky. Because I've been like wearing base layers underneath my pajamas and a sweatshirt, and I've got this hoodie that's made by Big Blanket Company. I've been throwing that on and running around the house with that on over the top of base layers and pajamas. And I'm not talking like thin pajamas. I'm talking like full fleece pajamas and socks and slippers. It's been damn cold. I'm surprised.
It's not that cold in the house.
It's not that cold in the house except for in the TV room. The TV room is pretty cold. But outside it's cold. It literally looks like it had snowed, but it's just a lot of heavy frost. And I don't know what's going on out on the highway going into town, but have you noticed that they're filling in that ditch that separates the rails to trails to the highway?
I don't know what the hell they're doing there either.
I haven't figured that out. I haven't seen anything, but I just got a camera for Christmas and just got a wrist mount for it and one of the invisible selfie sticks to go with it. And so I've been thinking about, taking it on a little bit of a journey through beautiful downtown Wilkeson, which is like a whole whopping 2 blocks, because this is like, population 500 and something before you actually run into the next town over, which then runs into the backside of Mount Rainier, which the next town over really isn't that far. It's just a few miles up the road from us. I love fusion cooking too. I really love fusion. I do a lot of Asian stuff. And Asian stuff that typical Americans can actually relate to, because if they saw some of the things that Filipinos eat, man, they'd be like, what the hell is that? I'm eating what? Oh no, I'm not eating that. You're kidding me. People eat that? Yeah. All right. We still have some liquid on the top. Now, the bean water with pork stock will start to thicken as we go along. 94. Yeah, you suck, Tiger. That's all I have to say is you suck. 77 here on the islands. And which islands are those? Tobago. Oh, nice. Nice. Very nice. Maybe one of these days we might actually be able to afford the luxury of having that catamaran and going sailing all over the world and taking the cooking show along with us and go live on a boat and sail around all these places. Trinidad and Tobago would probably be one of our stops, more than likely. Yes, definitely. Because, living in Washington State, it's like, oh my God, it's so cold here. But I've lived here all my life, and I just can't imagine living anywhere else, except for maybe now that I'm getting older and arthritis is starting to set in, maybe living out on a boat isn't so bad. So, and we definitely have to win the lotto for that. And if we won the lotto, it's like Tiger would have a boat too. We'd probably all go sailing together and he would never have to work another day in his life. Tiger, you've been literally everywhere, it seems. I feel so sheltered. So I've only been overseas a few times. Now we got all sorts of ickies floating in our broth. Now that it's fully cooled down, just go back in there with our spoon and just spoon out the Spoon out the fat. Okay. So some of the other things that I would love to do here pretty soon, now I got a lot of time on my hands, is, going out and showing you some of the scenery around Washington State. So what would you all like to see? Would you like to see beach scenes, or, the rural areas, or would you like to see what, some of these old historic cemeteries look like? Maybe some ghost stuff. Of course, these would all be over on Off Topic Squirrel, which is where we keep all of the non-cooking stuff. It's my other channel. Chinese, Spanish, Middle Eastern, and Eastern, and more. Yeah, I noticed that, a lot of the islands have a lot of influence of Middle Eastern cooking. But then again, it's like, a lot of the cuisines have traveled all over the world. It's like, you can't tell me that the French, yes, that's a cat. Do you want me to pick him up and show him off?
No, I figured you could coax him up there.
Oh, I don't know. He seems to be pretty happy about eating. Come here, you. See, he's like, no, F off, Mom. I want to bury my face in this new food that you got us.
He was up here to get petted a minute
Oh,
ago.
okay. You can't tell me that French cuisine is the founding father of all the cuisines. It's like, because when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, spices have traveled all over, and ingredients have traveled all over the world, right? It's like pasta, for example. It's actually originated in China. They ended up on trade routes, and that's how all these cuisines came into being. This, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's what we should be doing with life in general. Is, we're all a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Just embrace it, and just, recognize the fact that, we're full of all sorts of different cultures from all over the world. There's no pure race. Just embrace everything. Embrace one another. Be united. This country is so divided right now. It's not even funny. Okay. So, handy dandy thermometer. We're going to just check the temps on our sausages. We got 162 degrees on that one, but we want to stab the other ones. Oh yeah, those are definitely done. Now, if you want more color on yours, you can definitely put more color on them. All right, just turn that off. Get my trivet. Where'd my trivet go? Trivet. Oh, there it is. Cast iron trivet. Even though I have a stainless steel table, I don't want it marked up or discolored by heat. All right. Now we've got this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful food here. Now, if you like yours a little bit more saucy, you can definitely put just a little bit more in there. You want to just free it up from the corners, kind of bring some of that sauciness. See, as you can see, it's thickened up, and that's because of the beans. Aquafaba is a really good thickener. It's also a great egg substitute. It's what I use for when I'm making vegan liquid egg substitute. This aquafaba, which is bean water. Now, what we're going to do is get some tongs. Let me find some tongs that I actually like. Pluck this out for just a moment. I'm going to take some of this breadcrumb, and we're going to, actually no, we're not going to put the breadcrumb. We're going to take just a little smattering of this vinegar. We're just going to put it around the edge there because it will soak in. And as you're spooning it out and serving it up family style, it will carry over. We're going to want to take the breadcrumb and sprinkles over the top. This is really a beautiful, beautiful pork and bean dish that I absolutely love. Oh, I forgot the tomato. It's okay. Just plop the tomato on there. It's okay. Just add it in. That will also add a different type of acidity and brightness to the dish while adding a little bit more color. Although, you know, the tomato is absolutely optional. And that will catch up in temperature. All right, now we're going to go in, sprinkle. Okay. I'm going to take the sausages, move that over here, scoot that over for just a moment. Now, we want to give the sausages a little bit of character. How do we add some character to that? Well, we could, you know, return them back to the pot and get some more color on them. Although, you know, there's a pretty decent amount of color on there, right? So you just give it a cut on the bias. Just cut them up into slices and just kind of, you know, arrange them just so. These things are damned hot, by the way. And I like to just kind of put them over on one corner because I don't like scattering them because then it looks really messy. Even though this is a very, very rustic dish. I like things offset. Okay. I don't like bookending anything. Oh, wait, I need that cutting board back. I don't like to bookend. Now, if you like, you can put some cheese. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese. It's not necessary, but I like it. Just because it adds a little bit more salt to it. But it's a different kind of salt. It's very subtle. Go over here and grab our parsley. Just give it a rough chop. Gather it up. Bound it up. Like 50 Shades of Bound Up. Hello, your name is Anastasia. And just give it a rough chop. You don't have to make it look all nice and pretty. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Yeah, I'm allergic too. I'm allergic to some shellfish. Mine is just a partial shellfish allergy. I have an partial shellfish allergy to crab, sea urchin, and lobster. And it sucks because I love those things. I remember a time in my life when I could actually eat those things. Now I can't. All right. I don't want to get another cutting board dirty, so I'm just going to grab one of my mats. And grab the bread. So now we've got this beautiful, beautiful monstrosity here. And we have this bread. Somewhere in here I've got a bread knife. All right. Scoochy these things over. I don't need those anymore. All right. So, sourdough bread is one of the most beautiful things in the world. And this stuff is nice and crispy. It's got a nice crunch to it while still being very soft. You know, you just take your bread and you cut them on the bias, on the long bias, and then you go on a long bias yet again. So you get some nice geometry going with your bread, right? And you just kind of just stack some, tacks. Stack in the corner. Just like so. Now you can toast it if you want, or grill it. Get some marks on it. But look at that. And what you're going to want to do, you just serve it family style. Take your trivet to the table. What?
I want a piece of bread, dickhead.
Oh, I'm sorry, dickhead. Here you go.
I want that one.
Well, how does it feel to not want or to want? So, you just take the whole thing family style to your table and you just serve it that way. You let people just go in and grab a piece of bread and dippy, dippy, dippy. Stuff it in your gob. And just call it a day, Goodness gracious. That's delicious. Oh my God. So all the flavors have developed because we cooked everything in layers, right? You can taste every little subtle nuance from start to finish. The finish is a little bit more smoky, while when you put it in your mouth, it's sweeter, and then all of a sudden it's like it goes to that savory, and then you get the herbaceousness, and then you get that little punch of vinegar in there. It's so good. So, Munchie Mafia, there we have it. I hope you all enjoyed this video and this live. Anybody have any questions or anything before we take off and go and Netflix and chill with this behemoth of a dish? Yes, Larry, we are eating good tonight. And the sausage, like I said, it's got a really nice color to it. It's got a nice firmness to it. It's got a nice snap on that casing. It's got good flavor. The texture is just perfect. It's not gummy or anything like that. Hey, Help Grow Food. Oh my God. The sriracha to die for. So I wish I could FedEx you some, but you know what? If I ever head over, I'm hoping this summer maybe being able to go to Sturgis. And if I do go to Sturgis, we'll stop off in Nebraska on the way home and I'll cook you something. But yes, extra bread. You need the extra bread, but the sausage is freaking amazing. I think it's the first time that I've had this Southern Classic sausage. I don't think I've cooked the other one yet. Because we still have two other flavors. Remember we were supposed to do a sausage marathon. Let me chew that real quick. So, sausage marathon. So the other one that we haven't done is the Irish bangers, which is supposed to be a sausage roll. So a traditional sausage roll, not the sausage roll that you know Southerners think is sausage rolls. So we're talking, on the other side of the pond, sort of traditional sausage roll. So that's coming soon. Of course, our mystery wheel of misfortune we've already spun, so that's coming up soon as well. And so let me know in the comments what you think. Should we do another Pearls Against Humanity on a Friday or a Saturday night this time, or maybe a Sunday? Gives us something to do. And anyway, Munchie Mafia, that's going to be it for the night because I'm starving to death. I'm really hangry. So don't forget to cook with love, eat with passion, and thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good night.